we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Real Spill Sports Podcast. As you may know, I'm Big Nate, joined here by my co-host, Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. Can't complain. Sun is out. Sun is shining. Another day above ground.
I hear that. We are also joined by a guest, good friend of mine, known him for a long time, big sports guy, here to help us with our NFL mock draft for the first round. Like I said, good friend of mine, Bryant Wright. Bryant, how you doing today, bro?
Man, I'm doing good. I work for Drake Athletics, and it's relays time right now, so busy over here in the spring, but we're getting through. Yeah,
I hear it. Y'all ready to get into this mock draft?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
We've kind of split up the teams here. As you know, there are 8 teams with multiple picks in the first round. So we've split them up. We'll just go down the line. We're not going to do any trades. We're just going to keep it straight drafted. So I have the Jags first. And I'm going to start the draft off with a surprise. And I'm going to have the Jags with the number 1 overall pick take Trayvon Walker. I'm going Trayvon Walker with the first pick. I think I've never been a fan of Aiden Hutchinson like that. He disappointed me in the playoff game. I think Walker has a lot more athletic upside, and I think he has the potential to just be a more dominant, defensive player than Hutchinson. I think Hutchinson will be a fair defensive player, a good defensive player, and can start and be a long-time starter. But I think Walker is going to be a guy that can really elevate his game higher than Aiden Hutchinson. So I'm going Walker with the first pick.
Are we discussing each pick, or are we just kind of going?
So you can if you want to.
So the biggest thing for me is I want to see what Coach is about to do, because now he has Hutchinson in his lap, so he got to choose between Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau, Michigan, Detroit. I mean, what they gonna do? I know what I would do, but I just want to see what you're gonna do. So I'm interested.
I think I'm also going to start this off with a bit of a shock with the Lions.
Okay.
No disrespect to either of those young men you just mentioned, but I'm actually going to take Kenny Pickett, the number 2 pick in the draft. It's a quarterback's league. The Lions got to do something to move on from golf at some point. Pickett really slings it, man. He really, really slings it. They make fun of his hand size, and to me, if that's your narrative at the combine is how big your hands are or not, then what are we really talking about? Clearly, you got nothing in a young man's game. So I'm going to take Kenny Pickett, man. He's got a lot of Justin Herbert in his game. He really does. And we saw how good that young man has become. So I'm going to go Kenny Pickett for the Lions.
That is big time. You know what? I think between him and Dan Campbell, if Dan Campbell believes and that new front office regime believes, I mean, they have weapons. DeAndre Swift, Hawkinson, Amon-Ra. So if he's the guy, that could pay off. You got to put your nuts on the table for that one, for sure.
You heard what Campbell said. We bite kneecaps off, so that's what we're going to do.
Oh, man. So it's me now, huh? Okay. So wow. Okay. I didn't expect to be in this position with the Houston Texans at 3. I didn't. And we're drafting what we would do, not what we think they are going to do. Is
right. You can go.
Correct.
Go, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
You're the GM.
Okay. If this was Nick Caserio, if I was Nick Caserio and this happened on draft day, I'm looking at Aiden Hutchinson and I'm saying that's my new JJ Watt. That's what I'm saying. If I'm him, personally, I like Kayvon Thibodeau better, but I think if they have their pick, they're going to go with Aiden Hutchinson. A lot of branding around him, Michigan, Aiden Hutchinson is really good. He 12 sacks this year. But I think that's just going to be the thing. Is it going to be him or is it going to be Thibodeau? And I think Nick Caserio is going to pick Hutchinson.
So are you picking Hutchinson or are you going with where you?
Yeah, I'm picking Hutchinson. Yeah, I'm picking Hutchinson. Yeah.
Okay.
The next J.J. Watt.
I'm telling you, that's what they're going to see.
Yeah. I could see that. All right. I got the Jets. And I think the Jets, they need a, they have a nice roster. They just kind of got to put it together, I think. And right here, I am going to go with my favorite player in the draft, who I think is the best player in the draft. And I'm going to go with Sauce Gardner at 4.
I knew you were going to say that.
For the Jets. I think they had a shutdown corner and improve that defense. Is it Salah is the coach there? I think that guy he allows that pass rush to be even better because he's going to shut down one side of the field, and that's where I'm going to go. Sauce Gardner. I also got the Giants. Okay, with the Giants, I think you got Dabo in there from the Bills. I think they have invested in saying that they're going to ride with Daniel Jones one more year. So I think you need to protect Daniel Jones. So with their first pick, I'm going to go Evan Neal, the tackle out of Alabama. I'm a little higher on Daniel Jones than some. But I think if you can have an adequate game plan around him and keep him upright, I think he could be a pretty good player. So I'm going to go with Evan Neal, the tackle out of Alabama, for the Giants at 5. Brian, you got the Panthers at 6.
Yes, I do. And right now, if I'm the Panthers, I think this ownership group is, going to look at Matt Rule and say, hey, we're not letting you try to save yourself and waste a pick on a QB right here. At the end of the day, you had your shot with Sam Darnold. It didn't come through. You traded draft capital for him, picked up his 5th-year option. It didn't happen. They do have a solid team, but I don't know if there's a quarterback right here that I think is going to take them over the top. I think next year is the quarterback draft where you have your C.J. Stroud, your Bryce Young. You have some players. You have old boy out of Florida, Richardson. Who's a big time athlete. And I just think that you just need to keep building, your team through and through. So right here, North Carolina State, Ike Ekwonu, nasty, 6'4". So, we're in an age where 6'4" isn't big anymore for tackles, I guess. But, he plays nasty, he plays aggressive, NC State, all ACC caliber player. So I think the ownership group is going to say, hey, you know what? We need to keep building. We need to keep protecting our line because they have the offensive weapons. I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey, you got DJ Moore. So you have players there.
All right. I've got the Giants at 7. Like I said, I think at 5, they're protecting Daniel Jones. So I think at 7, I think they're going to get a pass rusher. And obviously, the potential best player in the draft, one that if you asked everybody 6 months ago who the best player coming out was, it was Kayvon Thibodeau. I think he fills a need, and I think he's going to be a very productive pass rusher. So I'm giving the Giants Thibodeau at 7. Coach, you got the Falcons at 8.
Might be a bit of a shocker. I'm going to take Malik Willis here. I think that similar to Kenny Pickett, he has a year to develop under Mariota. We know what Mariota is, and he's not the long-term play here. Malik Willis is playing at Liberty in the South, so I just think that the front office would be more equipped to have scouted him better than other people. He's really shown the ability to really launch the deep ball. So I'm gonna go Malik Willis for the Falcons because they got to think, just like the Lions, they got to think long term here. They got to stopgap. They got to think long term at quarterback. I think Willis is the guy for them.
I like that. Right, you got the Seahawks at 9.
Who do we have here? So I do, and I guess the biggest thing is, Coach, do you believe in these QBs? Do you think these QBs, if you're ranking them to the ones last year or the ones that are going to be coming up here next year, do you think these QBs are top tier? Because it's a QB league for sure, so you need one. But reaching on one, is never going to be the answer. But do you think that these guys are that caliber of player where you can see them against that?
I do, and here's why. I know that last year your guys, the QBs that went, Willis and Lawrence were rated really high, but those guys really got thrown to the wolves. And with quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, I don't care how good you are coming out of college, it's still the NFL. If you get thrown to that wolf and you're not ready or you get exposed, I mean, think about a guy like Wilson, right? He's from BYU where he's been protected by the media. Now he's in the world's biggest media market. And whenever he messes up there on his head, that is going to mess with his game. What I really like for Pickett and Willis, they're going to teams that have stopgaps for a year that allow them to learn, and then they can step in. If Tyrod Taylor never punctures his lung, Herbert probably doesn't play that season. You know what I mean? Like he'd already sit in the first 3 games, but then he had to play, right? And he was ready. He showed he was ready. And that's what I like for these quarterbacks is that you don't need them to come in right now today. I believe with any draft, it's more important about where you go than when you go, right? If Brady had to go right away early in the draft and there was no Drew Bledsoe, is he the Brady now? Probably not. You know what I mean? But when his number got called, it just happened to be a fluke incident, and he was more than ready to step in. And I believe that that's what really will separate some of the quarterbacks that will and won't make it. On the flip side, look at Jordan Love. I think he's set too long. So now the confidence isn't there anymore because he's like, well, they don't believe in me. They just keep bringing up Rodgers. So I think a quarterback needs to go to a situation where it's going to be a short stopgap, a year, and then he's your guy, and he can learn that learning curve of the NFL. When you throw the guy to the wolves, and I said this to you last year, Nate, I don't think Lawrence is going to be what everybody thought he was at Clemson. I just don't think so. Jacksonville's got way too many problems. He's already on his second coach, and it's like, here goes that downward spiral for young quarterbacks. Here it goes.
I think that situation in Jacksonville was so fucked up, though, and like usually when you have these guys who are heralded as these generational talents, your Elways, your Peyton Mannings, your Andrew Lucks, whenever you're anointed I don't think those guys have failed. And he's been one of those guys for a long time that's been anointed, this is a generational guy. And I think he has all the tools. He's got the size, the athleticism, I think he'll be all right. I just really, and then I think also with the coaching he has this year, who's a proven coach, a Super Bowl winning coach, it's really going to make it easier for him to succeed. So, Brian, you said you got the Seahawks at 9. What you got?
Oh, yep. I got the Seahawks. Let's see. Who do I have here? I'm going to go Charles Cross. I really believe in building a team inside out. And I think the biggest thing is, you have Drew Lock. Let's just see where Drew Lock is, whatever. Throw him out there. Keep DK Metcalf. You get a first rounder for Russell, but you had traded one away for Jamal Adams already. So really, you're just back to where you started. And I just think they need to keep fortifying that O-line because if you bring a QB in, and luckily for the Lions, they have a good O-line. The Lions have built their O-line up very well. So Kenny Pickett's going to have his protection, but in Seattle, they wouldn't. So I'm going to get Charles Cross right here out of Mississippi State. Solid run blocker, very good pass blocker though. Keep fortifying that O-line wherever you go.
I like that.
Especially against Bosa. You think about what the 49ers have, you think about Aaron Donald. If you don't have an O-line, that's your ass.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. So
great point. Coach, you got the Saints at 10. Who you like for the Saints there?
All right. We're gonna get a little wild here. But I think that something about my guy, what's the receiver? Malcolm what's his name? The guy that had Malcolm Young or Michael Young. What's the receiver that set out
you're
last
talking
year?
about you're talking about the
Yeah.
Saints receiver, from Ohio
Yeah.
State.
Yeah. I think he's worn out his welcome with how the injury was played out last year. So I'm gonna go Garrett Wilson here. I think they need to get a guy that's younger, that they don't have to pay crazy money for. And I think they're gonna pick a receiver. And I'll go Garrett Wilson. I think that makes the most sense for them.
Hold on, do I have that right?
I don't think you have that right, Nate. This is supposed to be the Jets right now.
The Jets.
Yes, the Jets.
It's the
Jets.
Yeah, this is the Jets. Yeah. I was thinking.
That's my fault. I looked at that and I said, no, that's not right. So I'm the Jets. Okay. So and to stay.
Coach was ready though. Coach was ready.
Scott just snatched my pick, man. He's gonna take my pick. He's gonna take my pick. I know he's gonna take what I'm gonna do. I know he's gonna take.
I'm not going to take Garrett Wilson. I am going to take a wide receiver though.
All right.
And
I respect that.
With a wide receiver who I think is the best wide receiver in this draft is Jameson Williams out of Alabama. I think where you can, here's my logic. If you think he's the best wide receiver, which I think a lot of people do, and you can shelve him, for 5-6 weeks out the season, bring him along slowly, and then next year he really come and explode when you're really ready to probably compete a little more next year. I think it makes sense when you go ahead and get him. You got 2 first-round picks. You did your due diligence getting Sauce Gardner in the first pick, who I think is, like I said, I think is going to be really good. You can afford to wait on this guy and get him if you think he's the best at the time. So I'm going to go Jameson Williams out of Alabama for the Jets here.
All right.
Big time playmaker.
Yes, sir. Now, Commanders, I've also got them. Commanders, I think, could use a few different positions. I don't like I don't know that how Carson Wentz is viewed amongst a lot of NFL teams. Like, are they taking him as a stopgap, or are they taking him thinking he's a long-term solution? So I'm going to avoid quarterback there. There's not an offensive lineman at this point that I would take this high. So I'm going to add to the defense, and I'm going to go Devin Lloyd out of Utah. It's position of need. They need a linebacker. So I'm going to go Devin Lloyd there for the Commanders. They got receivers. They got a running game. I think they're set. That's my pick to win the division this year.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I like what they're doing, and I think Carson Wentz is better than people give him credit for. He had a good year last year. He didn't maybe pop where they wanted him to pop, but I think 27 touchdowns to like 7 picks. He wasn't bad. And I think he's an upgrade over what they have right now. So, I'm going to go Devin Lloyd out of Utah and make that defense even better than what it already is. Vikings coach, that's you. You got the Vikings. So, yeah, I got that right.
There's some chatter about a trade there in that spot with the Steelers. So I'm going to make this pick as if eventually the Steelers end up with the pick.
With the Vikings here?
Correct.
Okay.
So with that being said, to stay true to form, I'm going to take Matt Corral out of Mississippi State.
Ooh.
Pittsburgh needs a quarterback, and there's another kid that really slings it. He played for Lane Kiffin, so he understands a pro offense. And you know what, man? He's got a lot of flair and moxie, but I don't think it's that over-the-top Johnny Football or Baker Mayfield moxie either. Like, they're a little over the top, and they were writing checks that they just couldn't cash. And I think with Matt playing for Lane, he understood that I need to have a personality that's marketable, but I can't be bigger than the program or bigger than the coach. And I don't think those other two understand that. And so I like Matt Corral going to Pittsburgh.
Does his size concern either one of y'all? He's a little small.
Let me say this. So is Kyler Murray. So is Russell Wilson. So who gives a damn? If he slings it, if he's got moxie, if he can extend plays with his feet, hey, pay the kid. Let him get loose. It's a
Well,
quarterback's
that's
league.
just like you said. So was Manziel and Baker Mayfield. They both did the
Mayfield,
same things.
2 years ago, Mayfield looked like he deserved every dime that he wants now. But all the other stuff and all the antics that have taken place have really derailed his career. I was a huge Manziel fan in college, as were you, and as was the country.
Yeah.
But like I said, Johnny just always thought he was bigger than the program, and that just doesn't happen. You can't never be bigger than the program. And when he got to NFL, he obviously needed a handful of people to tell him what was right and what was wrong. And I think he's surrounded by people that tell him yes. And eventually, guess what? When his money went away, his opportunities went away, I'm sure those people went away as well also.
Okay. Brian, how you feel about Corral?
I like Corral. And, I think coaches made all the QB picks up to this point. He feels really good about this QB. He feels really good about this QB class. And I'm just, I don't know. These guys, Malik
I think Corral
Willis
have to sit more than
really
a year.
good.
Probably sit 2 or 3 years. I think Corral will
You
sit
think
2 or 3
you think
years.
he'll sit more?
With the injury he's coming off of, and then needing a
Sure.
stopgap, I think he's probably a 2-year away. Once again, man, Mike Tomlin has won so many games. He's been the staple of coaches in the NFL, let alone black coaches. There's nobody better prepared to deal and help the young man transition than Tomlin to me.
But let me ask you this: Are they in a position where they've got right now you've got Trubisky and Rudolph on the roster? RIP to Dwayne Haskins.
RIP Dwayne.
Are they in a position where especially if they trade? So if you trade up, you're giving up, assets to get to from 20 to 12, which is kind of like what the Bears did last year. So it's going to cost you at least a future first round pick.
Probably 23.
Trade up. You've got stopgap guys there already. Can you afford to trade up, risk assets, and then also sit him for 2 years?
Once again,
no way.
I think you can. Listen, man, it's called the Rooney Rule for a reason. These dudes have been pioneers of the NFL. There's no pressure on Tom to win right now today. That pressure was last year, and it was more so for Big Ben's legacy. But once they realized, hey, dude, you're not getting it done. You're turning the ball over like crazy. The defense is letting us down. They had to abandon that little farewell tour. I don't think the Rooney had put any pressure on Tomlin. I think they understand it's a process. And the thing that Pittsburgh does better than anybody, when they're on top for a long run. So when they get back to being on top of the AFC, don't worry. It won't be a 1 or 2 year flash in the pan. It's going to be a 5, 6 year, 7 year run. So I think they understand. Look at the long-term picture here. Look at the long-term picture. Corral is a gunslinger, man. He's a slinger. He's got moxie. He's coming off an injury. So don't let that kid go somewhere else because he's going to sit regardless, and he's going to be in the NFL regardless. What you got to ask yourself is, do I need a quarterback? The answer is yes. Is he going to be an NFL quarterback? The answer is yes. Do I want to play with or against him? Because once he's healthy, once he's in the NFL system, I'm telling you, that dude is poised and will win a lot of freaking football games. Play in the SEC. Let's not forget that.
All right.
The Ravens fan, I'll take that all day. Twice on Sundays. Corral. If I'm Burrow, if I'm Deshaun Watson, if I'm Lamar, I say that guy's not better than any of us. And at the end of the day, to be the fourth best player by a country mile, all those other dudes are MVP caliber players. Either won an MVP, highest paid player, just was in the Super Bowl. It's a difficult division. But we could be coming back here next year, and Matt Corral could be Rookie of the Year. He has weapons: Najee Harris, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Freiermuth. So I think that's the best situation. That's the best situation for a quarterback to go to. And if they believe in him, I would wish, like if I was Tomlin, I would really hope Malik Willis falls to this spot because I love the trade up, but I would love it if it was Malik Willis. But Malik is with Kyle Pitts right now. So
all right, Texas.
We'll see what this is going to be like next year. We got to do this again.
Yeah, I'm noting everything.
Yeah,
I'm noting everything. All right, Texas at 13. Brian, that's you. What do you got them doing with their second pick of the draft or the first round?
Give me 1 second. Let me draft Corral quick. Okay. All right. So if I'm the Houston Texans right here, okay, I start up with Aiden Hutchinson, right? This team needs everything. Besides the quarterback, I do believe in Davis Mills. You got Davis Mills, you got Brandon Cooks, Brevin Jordan, who I think is a sleeper. I think Brevin Jordan at tight end might be a sleeper, but you need some more weapons for this guy. I'm gonna go Drake London here. Love me some Drake London. High catches, high points the ball, has that basketball background. Who's gonna get it from him? Crushing the Pac-12 at the beginning of the year, had over 1,000 yards within 7 games, I think.
Yeah,
he's a real one. And if you believe in Davis Mills, if you think Davis Mills has something, you got to surround him with something more than just Brandon Cooks and Brevin Jordan. That's not fair, and that's not realistic. And I think Casario will do that for him.
He's a big guy too. Drake London's a big dude. He's gonna. I think that's a solid pick. I think he comes in and adds some, especially because don't they got Brandon Cooks there?
Yep, Brandon Cooks.
He's good to have opposite of Brandon Cooks, who I think people kind of sleep on because he gets traded all the time. But I mean, he's always still productive.
1,000-yard receiver everywhere he goes.
Yeah. So I like that pick. All right, man. You're a Ravens fan. Ravens at 14 here. Who do you like here? There's a guy staring you in the face, and it's like
right. This should be an obvious pick. If you don't make this pick, I'm gonna be really upset.
Yeah, there's a guy staring you in the face.
I'm gonna be really upset if you don't make this pick.
You should. If he's there right here in real life, you're jumping for joy and you hit a home run if he's here in real life and you can get him. But who are you taking?
Well, it's funny. I think there's 2 dudes looking at me. I think there's 2 head and shoulders above the rest right here, and I am going to go Derek Stingley Jr.
There you go.
You got to have Derek Stingley, And the thing about it is, the Ravens have I think it's 9 of the top 150 picks in this draft. So, we can trade up. If one of those pass rushers starts dropping in real life, if Kayvon Thibodeau starts dropping a little bit in real life, the Ravens have enough ammo to go up and get him. But I mean, this is the best case scenario. You replenish that secondary. We did sign Marcus Williams to I think was 4 years, $72 million. At safety, which we've needed for so long. After the Earl Thomas situation, had to get him off the team though. But nobody's bigger than the team. Great organization, great pick. And we have an MVP caliber quarterback. The Ravens are going to be looking good next year.
All right. Eagles are next. I got the Eagles, and I wanna address the defensive backfield, but I also see a player here that's there that I think would be a bit of redemption for them because I think they're never gonna hear the end of taking Rager over Justin Jefferson. So right here, I'm going to give Jalen Hurts another weapon, and I'm going to give them Garrett Wilson. Who a lot of people like as the top receiver in this class due to the fact that he's healthy. So I'm going to give them Garrett Wilson, and I like that combo of Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith going forward. I think that could be a really dominant wide receiver tandem there.
Is there any part of you with that pick that makes you feel like, all right, well, hey, I drafted Devontae Smith last year, Heisman winner, had a good rookie year too. I don't know if he was over 1,000 yards, but had a real good rookie year with Jalen Hurts and was able to grow with him. You have Dallas Goedert as well, who I think you just paid. So you have 2 pass catchers already. Is there any part of you that feels like, hey, do we need to add a third one when we have 2 that we want to see grow?
Look at the Bengals. What the NFL is becoming now is it's wide receiver league, and the more you have, the better. And again, this is a team that has 2 first-round picks, and then they've got 2 next year. So they've got picks that they can address other positions. I think, if a guy like that falls in your hands and you can still use another weapon, which I think they can, I would take Wilson right there. Like I said, I wanted to take a defensive back, but I'm gonna go with the wide receiver because I think you can't turn down having that type of potential duo if Devontae Smith really turns out like he's going like people hope, and if Garrett Wilson is indeed the best receiver in this class.
That might be the best pass catching group in that division.
Yeah,
I mean,
seeing that the Cowboys gave up
Amari Cooper. Yeah, so it's only CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz and yeah. Oof. I like me some Garrett Wilson, and you know what? You got to be able to support Jalen Hurts if you really believe if you really want to give it a chance to work.
Or even if he's not there, the next if you got a tandem like that for the next QB coming in, that's a great start.
Definitely. So, yep.
Saints here at 16. I had that flip. So Saints is a coach. That's where you got them. So who do you have?
They are me?
They are you.
Well, staying true to form, I'm going to take Desmond Ridder. They need a quarterback in 2023. Once Winston passes the torch, let's go Desmond Ridder, baby. He won a lot of football games. I don't think
these QBs better not be trash. That's all I'm going to say. Because if they're trash,
man,
be looking
not everyone is going to hit on, right? Like there are going to be some that aren't, right? But hey, I remember a lot of people telling me how good Jamarcus Russell was going to be, and look how that worked out. So sometimes you tell me a kid is going to be this and that. Okay. Sometimes you tell me a kid is not going to be something he surpasses, and I think Brady's shown you. I'd rather take that kid sometimes.
Definitely.
No, I did hear that the Saints supposedly with one of them two picks supposedly like a QB. Now, given the way our draft is unfolded, I don't know if it was not one of the the previous three that went ahead of him. But what I do like about Ridder, he's got the size. He's fast. I didn't realize he was that fast. I think he ran a 4. I think it was a sub 4.5 or 4.5, right around 4.5 at the combine.
Yeah,
also, so he never lost a home game at Cincinnati. Granted, they didn't play the greatest competition, but even still, a 3-year starter to never lose a home game. And I think I saw another stat where I want to say he's won the 3rd most games as a college QB in NCAA history, I want to say they said. So, I mean, he's definitely accomplished. Like I said, I like his size. Again, I just don't know that I like any of these quarterbacks that much to go in the top half of the first round of this draft, but that it is definitely a need. So,
do you see him starting, Coach? Do you see him starting first year?
Not till 2023. Not till 2023. I think he's another quarterback that would be in a good situation where he can learn and see some things, and get his feet wet with the practice squad, obviously, and going against some of those guys. But he's not going to start right away. They have pressure right away, and I think that's another good thing with today's quarterback. He's not just thrown to the wolves.
Let me ask you this. Is Jameis Winston the best guy to learn from, and given the fact that Sean Payton is not there anymore? I think it would be a better situation if Sean Payton was still there to learn, but you got a defensive coach now. You got Jameis as your starting quarterback as it looks. Is he the right guy to really help bring along a young quarterback, you think?
Yes, because he'll teach you what not to do. He'll teach you why Tampa let him go and why the Saints were always on, the border fence about him, right? Like, remember, Sean Payton's not there to protect Winston anymore, right? And the new coach has already said, Taysom Hill, you're not playing quarterback. I don't want you in my system. You're going to have to be a tight end or wide receiver. You're going to be something else, but you're not going to be a quarterback. So the defensive coach has already shown you that if you don't have command of an offense, you don't have command of the locker room, he's not even looking at you in that position. Like, he's just not interested in no gimmicks, no tricks, no wildcats, not interested in none of that. He's an old school defensive guy. Let's run the ball anyway. Like, I mean, James Winston thinks he's about to just drop back and throw 40, 45 passes. He's dreaming. He's going to be handing that ball off or dumping it off in short spots to Kamara. That's how the new coach wants his offense to play. He wants to be very vanilla, very bland, and he wants the defense to win you games and control the field position.
All right. Chargers are next. You also got the Chargers, Coach. Who do you like here for the Chargers?
Oh, boy, this is a tough one here. Can't draft a quarterback, obviously. It's not a position of need. So I'm gonna go. Well, you took a guy that I really wanted. Boy. I really don't like. They need a wide receiver to keep, Herbert with weapons. Let's go Chris Olave from Ohio State. Let's go Chris Olave. Let's go Chris Olave.
High-powered offense. They're just building up war chest over there in the AFC West, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
they add him to that offense.
That's the perfect mix for them, but he's not there anymore, so they got to take Olave. They got to take a wide receiver. That's what they want to do is just air it out. Like their coach, we just talked about the Saints coach. Chargers coach wants to win games on their offensive side of the ball, right? He wants to rack it up on you. He wants Herbert to drop back 40, 45 times, and he wants to put 35, 40 points on the board against you every Sunday. So let's go. Let's keep building that offense there. Let's go Chris Olave.
All right. Eagles next. I've got the Eagles. I said I took Garrett Wilson at 15. It's their second pick. So with the second pick, I'm going to go ahead and address the defensive backfield. And I'm going to go Kyle Hamilton. He's a guy that had some hype, top 5 hype, and might still have some top 5 hype. I know a lot of people are higher on him, but then he didn't really test well at the combine. Heard people think he was slow, and but the game tape seems to suggest that he plays faster than he ran. If he's really as good as a lot of people think he is, this is a steal here at 18. So yeah, I'm gonna go Kyle Hamilton there at 18.
I just want to put this on record that this is going to be like Derwin James. We're all going to look back. If he really drops, we're going to look back and say, how did he drop? How did he get all the way down there? This hybrid, like Super Saiyan in the defensive backfield, 6'4", plays like a linebacker, fast as the DB.
You know who he reminds me a lot of when and this is. He reminds me a lot, but I don't think he's as far as the physical freak that this guy was. But Taylor Mays. Taylor Mays was a guy that was 6'4", big as hell, but he was a little faster and everything. And, we all thought that Taylor Mays was going to be this superstar and just didn't, for whatever reason, he didn't pan out. So
I think Hamilton is Taylor Mays with DB cover skills. His range, getting across the field, sideline to sideline, like the guy is just, when they were playing USC, there's this play he makes on who was it? It wasn't Drake London. Makes this play, just runs straight across it. He just runs like a deer. It's crazy. So I do think we're gonna look back and say, how do we let Drake London fall away there? And I think the Eagles are building around Jalen Hurts, getting a receiver, getting the defensive playmaker after losing Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. They're in a good spot.
All right. Coach, Saints are up again. That is your team. Or your team to pick for. Who do you got them taking with their second pick of the first round?
Well, you took another one of my players. I was going to go defense for them. Well. Who can we take here? You know what, man? They got a defensive coach, and that's how he wants to win games. So he's going to take a defensive player here. This is going to sound a little, out the box, but that's okay. I'm going to go Kaiir Elam out of Florida, cornerback. You can never have enough good corners in the stable, especially when you want to go nickel and do different things. And I'm gonna give them Kaiir Elam out of Florida, the corner.
Kaiir Elam. All right.
Him and Marcus Lattimore and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That'd be a nice cornerback room. And you have to play nickel nowadays. You just have to. If you don't, there's always 3 receivers on the field nowadays. So
right. So it's slot corner. I don't know if he's capable of playing slot corner, but if so, I mean, that's a nice pick.
They got a defensive coach. If he's not capable, they'll get somebody. They'll figure it out. But I think his talent is first round worthy. Once again, another kid that played in the SECs, so it's been battle tested, and they got a defensive coach. I think that you make room for guys like that.
Okay, Coach. Here's the Steelers. Like you said, you picked earlier as if the Steelers traded up to get to the 12th pick from the Vikings. So
right.
This would be more like the Vikings
now.
So
the Vikings pick.
Who do you like? Who do you like there?
All right, give me a second here. So, wait, they don't need a quick. What do the Vikings need? They need a corner. Let's go Andrew Booth. Let's go Andrew Booth out of Clemson. Let's go Andrew Booth out of Clemson. He's a physical guy, man. Physical guy. And I think that's how. I think in NFC North you got to play physical because people are still running the ball a lot more than other divisions, and so you got to have guys that aren't afraid to stick their nose in the box, get on the edge, and contain people. So you can't think that you're just gonna drop back. Like you gotta have corners that know how to shed blocks and get in that backfield and get downhill quickly. And so physicality is a must in NFC North to be playing corner.
I like that.
That's definitely a position of need. They did miss on Gladney. Was that 2 years ago now? You got to go back to that well. No Xavier Rhodes for a couple years. Got to go back to that well. Got to fortify that.
And if they do take a corner, did I see that? Did Peterson? Did he resign with them, or did he go elsewhere?
I'm not sure.
He did re-sign with them, but I mean, it's corner, man. So you got to have some youth, right?
Like, I'm saying if he did resign there, that's the perfect person to learn from, right? You know what I'm saying? That's a guy that's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he re-signed.
Yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer, you can learn from him, and that's a position of need. So yeah, that's probably the right choice. Brian, you got the Pats at 21. Patriots, who do you like here?
I think the rich get richer here. Patriots get Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington. I think he takes the slide right here, and the Patriots are the one to stop it. You lose Stephon Gilmore. You need a DB. Bill Belichick is a defensive-minded coach. He needs that. I know some people probably would have went Jamison Williams here, but I think that you can find a receiver in the second round, third round. You can find them a little bit later, but cornerbacks are hard to come by. You really need that, especially when you're going up against Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle now in that division. It's no slouches. I mean, even Elijah Moore and for New York, not a lot of slouches anymore. So you got to be able to refill that cornerback room.
That's a good pick. That's them their BPA there. And like you said, rich get richer. That's a damn good pick. You got the Packers. I could give a fuck less what the hell they do, but they are. So, who do you have the Packers taking?
Hey, Green Bay Packers. Shout out to your brother Jacob. This is his team. I'm gonna make Aaron Rodgers happy and finally give him that first round deep threat playmaker that he's been searching for. Obviously Devontae Adams, all-world player, but they got him in the second, third, fourth round, right? They need to invest in that. They need to invest in that receiver room, and they have no choice now. Devontae Adams isn't there to save you anymore. Jamison Williams from Alabama, big-time playmaker. Aaron Rodgers gets
already gone. He's off the board.
He's gone.
Is he?
Yeah, Nate
I took him to the Jets.
Motherfucker, you let me talk. You let me say all that. He was gone the whole time. Oh, he is gone. Yeah, I do see him here. Okay, I do see him right there. Let's see. Damn. Well, that takes the wind out of my sails.
And I hope it happens just like that too.
Oh man, let's see what we have here. Oh, you know what? Hey, that's all right. Hey, the Packers have been in the Deebo Samuel discussion, right? Trying to get a playmaker for Aaron Rodgers, as I've been saying. You get a Deebo Samuel light type of player with Traylon Burks right here from Arkansas. I don't know if you saw that article, but he hunts hogs with knives and stuff, or boars with knives. I don't know what he's on, but I know he's electric with the ball in his hand. 6'3", 225, running back stature. Kind of similar to Deebo and A.J. Brown. They utilize him in a whole bunch of different ways at Arkansas. He was all everything for them. Traylon Burks goes to Green Bay.
Traylon Burks.
Quick tidbit on the Deebo thing. I'm pretty sure Shanahan and the Niners will not trade him within the NFC.
No way.
I'm
no
pretty
way.
sure he'll go to the other side.
100%.
That damn pen acting up on me. I like Traylon Burks. I really hope he don't end up there. Because he was a guy I was looking at potentially in the second round for the Bears.
And you know what, Nate? Since the Bears don't have any first-round picks after the Justin Fields trade, I just want to take some time. Just since you brought up, the division, is there any part of you that wants to use? Do you have 2 second rounders?
Yes.
You have 2 second rounders. Is there any part of you that wants to jump up if you see somebody sliding?
No. I want to trade down. I want to get more picks. We only got 6 picks. We need a lot of players. Where even though I like a lot of these receivers early, I think there's receivers that could be had later that we could get even if we trade down. So I think you got to get as much talent as you can and trade down and accumulate more picks. So I'm against, you gotta come out this draft and hits and get hits. So I mean, maybe the only guy that, like, if Olave is at 27, 28, and we can come up, I would maybe do that, but I'm not trying to give up a whole lot to get up there because I like Olave to give to Justin Fields. But other than that, no, I'd rather trade down. Okay, we got the Cards here. Kyler Murray. Bitching and complaining sounds like all the time right now. You know what I'm going to go here? I'm going to say fuck everything that you heard because everybody been saying this guy's sliding. His arms are too short. He's at third. I'm going to take Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa and help solidify the offensive line for the Cards.
Big time pick. Amazing.
I think this is going to be a guy that's going to be a long time fixture on whoever's team he ends up at. He's going to be all pro bowler center. He's going to be a fixture for a long time, and it's very rare that an Iowa offensive lineman fails. And I don't see this guy being any different. So I'm gonna go Linderbaum here for the Cards.
And they followed their division rival, Seattle Seahawks, earlier in this draft, getting Charles Cross. Got to fortify that O-line, especially if you have a quarterback. You can't get him beat up. Howard's little. You guys may have your beef going on, but you know who your quarterback is. You found your guy. You're not about to give him up. He will be on that team. He got franchise after franchise. He's going to be there for a little bit. You got to protect him. Can't let Aaron Donald destroy him. Just can't. Okay. So, good pick.
Cowboys, Coach, this is you.
Okay. Let's go outside the box just a little bit. And they need some help on the offensive line. They got to get people who can protect and people who can open up some holes. I'm going to go Trevor Penny out of Northern Iowa. I like the senior offensive tackle. Northern Iowa has a great program in the 1AA system. And, he's a big kid. He's strong. And that's what, the Cowboys need more guys who aren't, divas. These guys want to play football. That's what they need. They need guys who want to play football.
And he is definitely one of those guys. Nasty, was killing people at the Senior Bowl. They had to tell him to calm it down. So.
Tone it down. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's sign that guy.
Yeah, I like that. Bills are up at 25. Brian, the Bills. Who you got there?
All right. Let's see. What can you say? Josh Allen, all-world QB. Stephon Diggs, all-world receiver. Gabe Davis coming up. Dawson Knox coming up. Awesome defense. You do need some defensive interior linemen. You need that, and luckily you got one of those Georgia boys still on the board, Jordan Davis. I don't know if he's really going to take that slide on draft day, but since he's here, we're taking him. 6'6", into a defensive tackle, stuffing the run, pushing lines back between him, Trayvon Walker, and Devontae Wyatt. They were just giving people hell all year, on the way to a national championship. So I'm going Jordan Davis.
Solid pick. I've heard a lot of buzz about him that he might be a top 10 pick, is what a lot of people think. They think he can be very dominant. So if he's there at 25, yeah, that's a huge steal.
He's been linked to the Ravens a lot. Yeah, he's if he slid, it'd be great for them.
All right, next pick is me with the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, we know what they have. They've been very solid over the last 3 years. They have a defensive coach. They have King Henry. They have A.J. Brown, who I think he reminded a lot of people who he is. They let go of Julio, which he's still waiting to be picked up. So I'm tempted to go wide receiver here, but I'm going to go with BPA, and I also got a hot take with this. I'm going to go with George Karlaftis out of Purdue, the edge rusher. And I'm going to go on a hot take, and I'm going to say I think George Karlaftis will have a better NFL career than Aiden Hutchinson. Whenever, obviously I root for Iowa. Whenever we would play, Purdue, this dude would wreak havoc. He was raising hell, and Iowa has a solid offensive line, and he's been doing it consistently for every year that he's been in college. He's been raising hell, and I just think that I think he's gonna have something to prove, and I like his game more than the Hutchinson cat. So I it's a hot take, but I'm gonna say he ends up being a better pro than Hutchinson, who was the third pick and potential number 1 pick. So I'm gonna go Karlaftis to the Tennessee Titans.
Hot take. I love it though. I can definitely see the lane for it.
Buccaneers. Tom Brady's back. Coach, you got the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Like here.
I'm gonna go a little bit of a hot take because he doesn't have the length and speed that most teams prefer to position, but he is a damn talented kid. I'm gonna go Trent McDuffie out of Washington, the corner. He is really, really talented, man. He understands angles. He's just not flashy.
McDuffie's gone. He went.
Yep, I picked McDuffie. Yep.
He went Pats 21.
Yep. I know it's tough. I know.
All right, that's fine. We can let's pivot. Let's go. This is tough. Oh boy. You know what? I gotta keep it rolling, right? I mean, that's what I do. Let's go with Sam Howell.
Out of Carolina.
Yes, he's got to sit behind Brady. We're gonna go Sam Howell, man. We're gonna go Sam Howell, man. He threw for a bunch of yards. He played for Mac.
Explain this pick to me.
Because listen, Brady already showed Tampa what he was about, and that's himself. Okay, he retired on you once, and I know he wanted you to get Bruce to the front office, and you better believe me now. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that doesn't go talk about enough with Brady. And Brady is the GOAT. Don't get me wrong. But Brady is showing you now he has a nasty habit of pissing off the last coach he played for. And so he rushed Bruce to the front office. You better believe Bruce is going to draft a quarterback so that when Brady decides, I am going to go play for the Niners or I am going to go retire, that he's not standing holding the bag. You can believe that, man. You better believe that. He's showing you that he tends to end these historical seasons on a bad note with that coach for whatever reason. All right, we thought Belichick was an anomaly. He did the same thing with Bruce by pulling a power move and telling Tampa, "How bad you want me to back?" And obviously they're like, "Yeah, of course. Well, what's it take?" Bruce to the front office. I don't want to play for Bruce anymore. Bruce really was handicapping me. He didn't want Antonio here, and I don't want to deal with that. And so guess what? Bruce is down in the front office. Brady will get another coach, but Brady can't play forever, man. Like, let's be real. He cannot play forever. I think Sam Howell gets to sit. You talk about learning. You're learning from the ultimate GOAT. And once again, I think Bruce will be this quarterback. I threw for a lot of yards. The whispering. Start it, Bruce. Start the whispering. Let's go Sam Howell.
Now, you realize last draft, in the second round, they took Kyle Trask.
Right.
Who sat behind Brady last year is going to sit behind him this year.
Understood.
So you're going to take another QB in the first round when they got one already sitting that they took in the second round.
I was going to take somebody else for that player, but that player was gone. So I'm going to take Sam Howell because he threw for a lot of yards. And I think Bruce is upset at how Brady snaked him. And so I've seen that guys tend to be pretty petty when it comes to Brady, and Brady's pretty petty himself. He's still a GOAT, though. Don't get me wrong. But once the relationship ends with him, I mean, he's like a bad ex. Once he cuts you off, it's over. It's over with. The magic is no longer there. I mean, it's over with.
All right.
And I still think at some point that Brady will leave Tampa and become a 49er at some point. I really do. But at some point, I believe he will. Or they're saying that he wants to buy and play for the Dolphins. I don't even know. Like, I mean, Brady's like Michael Jordan. He's like, remember when Jordan went to the Wizards? Like, what the fuck? He just refuses to go away. He refuses to go away in some capacity. So he's going to be with somebody in every capacity possible. He's just like Michael Jordan. Ego is just too damn big.
Okay. Sam Howell. All right.
Coach Taylor coming in with heat.
28. Packers again. Where you got, Bryant?
Give me a second. Fine, Sam Howell. All right. So first pick with the Packers, we went with Traylon Burks. Try to replace as much of Devontae Adams as you can. You can only do so much, but try to do as much as you can. Right here, we're going to go Tyler Smith, tackle out of Utah. He can also play some interior. You got to replace Corey Linsley eventually. He became the highest paid center last year, going from Green Bay to the Chargers. So you got to try to replace that O-line. You got to still protect Aaron Rodgers. If you're winning anything, it's on the back of Aaron Rodgers. Got to strike while the iron's hot in that division. Not too much competition. I think the Vikings are good. But I don't know if they have enough firepower to compete with Aaron Rodgers, especially if you get an Odell or a Julio in free agency to pair along with Traylon Burks and Robert Tonyan and A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. So right here, we are going to go Tyler Smith, though. Got to keep fortifying that O-line. It looks like me and Coach got two different ideals on this draft, and I'm going to O-line. He's going QB. We'll see though, because if he hits on half of these, I'll be shocked. But I believe him.
All right.
He's the first one with it.
So Chiefs got 29 and 30. That's you back to back right here with the Chiefs. So who you got at 29, then who do you have at 30?
Let's see. You know what? I want to say something. Jermaine Johnson sliding all the way to 29. I don't think there's any way this really happened. That guy, he was in the rotation at Georgia with Trayvon Walker and those boys, Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Davis. Transfers to Florida State, to get a little bit more time himself. Goes crazy in the ACC, 13 sacks. I think he was 8th in the nation in sacks. If he slips here, I think the Chiefs look at him and say, "Hey, you are who we need. You are that pass rusher. We need to get to the quarterback in this division." And I think they go Jermaine Johnson first. Second pick, I think they go. Let's see. I think you go Daxton Hill. You got to replace Honey Badger in some way. You need that defensive back help. Daxton Hill can be that nickel corner or that safety for you. He can also play in the box, hard hitting, blue chip prep standout from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Goes to Michigan, produces at a high level. I think you're going to go Jermaine Johnson and Daxton Hill. People are saying that they're going to replace Tyreek Hill, but I think there's going to be receivers in the second round, third round. I think there always is. You don't have to go and reach for one right now.
100%. All right. They have riches upon riches, and I think that just further solidifies the defense that needs help. So I like both of those picks, both defensive picks there. All right. Bengals are next. I've got the Bengals, and they need interior offensive line help, but I don't know that I like a guy. I mean, yeah, I like a guy, and this would be more going for fit over BPA. So I'm gonna go for the fit, and I'm gonna go with Zion Johnson, the guard out of Boston College. I know they've added to that offensive line in free agency, and they can, if they can really, turn a corner on the protection for Burrow, truth be told, if they had the protection last year, they're probably Super Bowl champs, right? So I think you go and get a guy this late in the draft. I think he's a solid value there. He's a need, and I think they can feel good about taking him right there. So I'm going to go with Zion Johnson out of Boston College, the guard.
Good player.
Very good player. And as a Ravens fan, seeing them fortify their old line, that was their biggest weakness last year. They did a lot in free agency last year. Took a big step forward. Obviously, you're in the Super Bowl. Jamar Chase can do that for you as well. Blue chip player. So them fortifying that old line scary for me. I think our division is just going to be a bloodbath.
All right. Last pick, the Detroit Lions. Coach Taylor's team. Coach Taylor, who do you have them taking with the last pick in the first round?
You need an edge rusher. So I'm going to go Bouye Mafi out of Minnesota. Out of Minnesota. Kid, I think the Lions usually try to scout and look at guys that play in the Big Ten because it's, he's 6'4", 261, 265. Now, with this pick, had the young man of Joe Ball of Michigan not towards ACL or Achilles at the pro day, I probably would have taken him. But because he did, I am going to go Mafi out of Minnesota. I think he's got good size and he's talented. And the Lions need to create some type of pass rush. There's just no getting around that. If you're going to ask Jared Goff to not lose you football games, you better create some type of pass rush to play in between the hashes and play a grinded out style of football.
I can ride with that.
Definitely.
Notable guys that were left, Nakobe Dean was left. The defensive
Devontae
Wyatt out of Georgia, he was left on the board. The tackle out of Central Michigan, Bernard Raymond.
Yeah, Bernard Raymond.
Those were just some guys that were left that would, if they fell to the second round. I'm a huge fan of Nakobe Dean, and I feel like I like him so much where if he, for some odd reason, was there at 39, as bad as we need offensive line and wide receiver, I would take him in a heartbeat. That guy was unbelievable to me in the playing games. He was all over the place. So if he was there, that would be a guy that I would jump all over. Switching lanes, that's our official mock draft. I've got everything written down. So we have to come back to it Thursday and see if we hit on any of these picks. To see how that happened. But that was fun. I got it all written down. So maybe next Friday we can come back and do the next episode and see where we hit and where we didn't hit. But like I said, the switch lanes, we're going to go to college athletics since I've got two college athletic experts here. And we want to speak a little bit on the transfer portal NIL deals for these players. Recently I saw where Akta Tashibre, who that was my timer for the hour. Tashibre, who decided to come back to Kentucky, which I was surprised that he did that. I saw part of the reason why he can do that is because he's making a reported $2 million in the NIL deal, which I've also seen as a draft prospect. he's a second round type prospect, which if he's getting $2 million a year out of that NIL deals, it makes sense for him to come back to college. So start with you, Coach. How do you feel about the NIL deals? I think it's a great thing where the players can finally capitalize off of their name. And that's a shit ton of money for a 20-year-old kid and you're still in school, right? Like, $2 million. So how do you feel about it first? You started off with.
I'm happy for the kids. They're getting compensated. They're making all this money for universities, saving some coaches' jobs and putting millions in their pockets. I'm happy for the kids. I'm also happy with how it's changing the game. It's forcing older coaches like Coach K, Roy, even Jay Wright to a certain extent, that if you don't understand it or you don't have the connections or resources at your school to make it happen for kids, you got to retire and get out the way, because now you're not only recruiting against some other maybe traditional powerhouse schools, now you're recruiting against schools who maybe have a better foundation and a better handle on the NIL and able to put some serious coin in some of the top elite players' pockets. So I'm happy how it's helping the players advance. I'm happy how it's helping some of the old dogs and coaches get out the way and paving a new way for guys that are maybe a little more younger, a little more hungry, and a little more well-versed at relating to today's player.
Brian, how you feel?
I'm all for NIL. I'm all for it because at the end of the day, this may be the most money that some of these kids will ever make. Playing their sports, or have the most notoriety that they'll ever have playing these sports. And college basketball is better when you have senior and junior upperclassmen players coming back. Not just one and done. Because really, usually the teams that win are the teams that have that veteran leadership on their team. That's why Villanova had won so many. You always had people who are saying Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, folks like that. So I'm all for the NIL. And to be completely honest, I mean, this is affecting like a lot of kids in a lot of positive ways, but not everybody's making $2 million. Like Oscar Sheboy,
right,
at Kentucky, like it's like the 1% of players. You got a couple gymnasts, you got a couple softball players. Caitlin Clark, obviously, we're in Iowa. Caitlin Clark has a high B deal. She's making some serious money, as the most noticeable women's basketball player in the country. So I'm all for it. I think it's just the new norm. And I think that in combination with the transfer rules, it's making stuff, very shaky for the universities, but we'll just have to figure it out. There's just a transition period.
Have you personally seen any athletes, as far as Drake there, being able to take advantage of that? Or is it not to the extent there of the athlete, the high caliber enough athlete there to really take advantage of it?
No, definitely. We've had softball teams, and it's not just men's basketball, not just football.
Right.
It's softball, track and we have a great track and field team. We have the Drake Relays. We have a very good track and field team. We have 2 All-American caliber track and field runners, and they get money off NIL. They're able to use their name, image, and likeness, with the podcast and different and other stuff and merch. So this is affecting a lot of kids positively. Why not let them make some money off of stuff? And again, it's going to be difficult to regulate the first year or two, and we're working through that. And there's going to be some stuff that gets through the cracks, but also it's not always as nasty as people want to make it. Like, money under the table. It's not even like that. It could be just the local pizzeria sponsoring the softball team or sponsoring the O-line, and they're getting gift cards. It could be as simple as that. So it's really good.
Now, you mentioned the transfer and the transfer portal, and that's been a huge thing for college basketball these past couple years, and college athletics in general. How do you feel about that? I know Coach Taylor's got some thoughts on it. How do you feel about it? And especially seeing that you work within a university and you probably see cats coming in now, because like you said, me and you have had conversations where you had the kid that transferred to Kansas from your school.
Yep.
And with the kids now, obviously he won a national championship, but he wasn't a big part of the rotation as to where he was at. Drake was a starter, right?
Right. He could have been the difference between us making the CBI and us being in the tournament. Yeah, he was that caliber of a player, and ended up, at the back end of the rotation at KU. And again, there's good and bad, but everyone has their own coin to toss in life. These kids are adults. They're not just kids. I'm calling them kids, but when you transfer, that's on you. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. I would never stop a kid from transferring though, because there's so many situations where it's gotten better. Malik Willis transferred from Auburn because for some odd reason he's sitting behind Bo Nix. Justin Fields transferred to Ohio State. Justin Fields transferred to Ohio State from Georgia. Joe Burrow transferred to LSU from Ohio State because he's sitting behind Dwayne Haskins, who did have an amazing career at Ohio State. But you see this all the time where you got to get out from under someone else's shadow, or a coach could leave. I mean, I don't have a problem with kids transferring, but it's on them. If they transfer and it doesn't work out the way you wanted to, you might just be living that. Grass isn't always greener, but you're an adult now. Adult decisions.
Coach Taylor, how do you feel about the transfer portal?
So once again, I like it because it benefits the player, but it also, because I've been a coach, it benefits the coaches too. And as coaches, we mean well when we recruit a kid, but sometimes we just miss on a kid. Sometimes we overvalue that kid and what he's going to bring and the impact he's going to have. Or sometimes that kid just doesn't fit our culture, right? And when my job is on the line, particularly as an African-American coach, let's be real. The contract might say 5 years, but I probably only got 3 before you're looking to buy me out or get rid of me. And if I've got some mistakes on my roster or some kids I missed on or just a bad cultural fit for me, the university, I should be allowed to get out of that and try to rewrite my wrongs. And if that means I got to go in the portal and add other kids, I got to go to junior college ranks, whatever it is I got to do. I think that it benefits both parties. And I'm really sick of hearing, once again, some of the older guys that have been in basketball, the Dick Vitales, cry and whine about how it needs to be regular, it needs to be this, it needs to be that. This is like the one thing that I can say the NCAA actually did. And by staying the hell out of the way, just laying the ground rules, you got to May 1st, blah, blah, blah. You got one time. They did it right because this should really be between the young man, his family, and the university. It shouldn't be regulated by the NCAA. There are some ground rules you got to have in terms of how you leave school good academic standing. That's don't leave a school, obviously, in poor academic standing. But the older people in basketball don't understand this, and that's why they're crying about it needs to be regulated, and that's why they're getting out of the game. And once again, today's kid can't be coached how he once was 10, 15, 20 years ago. You have to inspire confidence in these kids. You cannot break it. You cannot take it. And if that kid gets to your campus, your university, from the time that you recruited him as an 18-year-old kid to the time that now he becomes 19 in the fall, and he thinks things have changed, he should be allowed one time to rewrite that mistake. And I think it benefits, once again, the coach and the player equally. And I'm in favor of any rule that creates an equal opportunity for both parties.
Do either one of you think that it's hurting like your high school seniors, where if I'm a guy and, because I think it, in a way, it kind of almost devalues some of your guys. Like, okay, so say you got 3-star athletes, and typically a 3-star athlete is usually you're a D1 kid as a 3-star athlete for the most part. And now instead of taking some of these 3 stars, these schools might take the 4 and 5s and then go hit the transfer portal. Now I don't know how exactly how it works, where you might have to have a certain amount of new incoming freshmen as far as the scholarships that you provide. But do you think it's potentially hurtful to upcoming kids for the that are potential freshmen that might get left out because a coach is taking a fair amount of transfers?
I'll let you go first, Coach.
I played basketball my whole life. I coached it. I think it raises the bar. And so if you're a 2-star right now, you better find a way, like you said, to get to that 3-star level. And if you can't, then you need to go junior college, or you need to go do something else. And I'm okay with that, once again, because the college game has always been about, you need to stay old to win. Every coach believes in that. Whether you're going the junior college route, whether you're going the transfer route, you need to stay old to win games. It has never been youth. Everybody wants to have some type of veteran presence on their team to be able to compete for conference championships, conference titles, let alone national titles. And so I think that the high school coaches, the parents, the kids, the AU coaches need to understand that if you're not probably in the top 5 in your state, you need to have a backup plan en route, or you need to be okay, right, going to that low major in your area that really wants you. Just go put up numbers. You put up numbers, you're an all freshman in that league. You know what I mean? You can bounce out of there later, but this is the way of college basketball. And I think that all people, from coaches, parents, administrators, all the way at the college level, all the way down to the grassroots level, need to get in route with this, and need to get in line with this. You need to start preparing athletes mentally and physically so that they can learn how to use the game to an advantage. I don't make the rules in the game, but I got to play by them. And so I'll be letting the kids that I coach and my own kids not be well versed in how it goes and what a coach is looking for. And if you know coaches want to be older and you're a 2-star or a 3-star and you're some kid in Iowa, don't try to go to Iowa. Don't try to go to Iowa State if they're not recruiting. Don't try to go be a walk-on. If you got a chance to go to Drake or UNI or University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, go there, put up numbers, hit the portal. Guess what? Those same schools who didn't want you will come running down the pipeline for you later. And that's just the way the game goes now. I'm okay with that.
Brian, go ahead and tackle that.
I agree with Coach. I really do. And, I think it's just going to start regulating itself. And I think it's going to take a couple years, for that to happen. Because, honestly, if the teams who are doing it right are going to have that mix of high school recruited them all the way through, they expect them to be there and try to get that 5-star or try to get that transfer. Iowa State's done this right. They've been playing this game for as long as I can remember. It just hurt them with Tyrese Hunter now even, but it did just hurt them. But they were living that life with Yang and Monte Morris. Then they bring in DeAndre Cave. You bring in some other folks, and bring in a Chris Babb, have that success. But you always have your core guys. So I think coaches are just going to have to get smarter, and you're really planning for the future, all the time now. And you have to, keep scholarships open for people who want to transfer, So it may hurt a little bit for these, for some of these lower star recruits, but at the end of the day, it might be a blessing in disguise for them. Because who wants to think you're high D1, you go somewhere and then you got to transfer, you end up back at an Indiana State or whatever. So it might be a blessing in disguise, but we'll see.
I got one more point on it, and I'm more or less be talking to you, Coach Taylor, because you have been a coach. How do you feel about it for like these lower end schools who are doing the due diligence to go out and recruit these guys who could come in, to Indiana State or like to Drake, who could come in and drop 20 a game, and you found these guys. And then if they come in 1 year and, drop 20 a game, player of the conference player of the year, first team, whatever, and then can go out and hit the transfer portal the next year and then really deplete your team and the work that you went into to recruit the guy. If you were on that end, how do you, isn't that more like just a revolving door? I got to keep, because, if you have a guy a lot, now the likelihood of them leaving is so much higher because everybody is hitting it and they understand, okay, I can go, that could be your attitude year. I can go to, a mid-major, and as long as I put in work and it's slightly productive, I can transfer more than likely to a higher caliber school. And now it's depleting the coach who did the work to recruit these kids. So how would you, as a coach, for a mid-major school, and have to deal with potentially losing the talent that you put in a lot of work to recruit? How would you deal with that?
It doesn't bother me, and here's why. As a coach, my first loyalty is to the players. And let me tell you something. If I was at a mid-major school right now and I had 1- and 2-star kids, maybe some prep kids, JUCO kids, they were diamonds in a rough. Nobody wanted them, right? And I'm winning 20 games a year. I'm going to the NCAA tournament. Guess what? I ain't going to be there no way. I'm bouncing to a new school to get a new, bigger contract anyway. So why would I be upset that a player has a chance to better himself and his family when I'm going to do the same damn thing, man?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do the same thing. If I'm at some mid-major and I got the rookie of the year in the league 4 years straight, and we go to the tournament, 2 out of those 4, if I got an agent who's worth anything, he's gonna get my ass, and I'm going to a higher level. So I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad for those coaches. I don't feel bad for those schools because before this was possible, the coaches were either getting a raise if they stayed at the school, which meant more money in their pocket, or they were going to a higher level to get more money. So either way, if the kid puts his blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice for you, I'm okay with that kid being able to have more control over what his future is. I'm okay with that. And
I guess that puts more credit to your name as far as your availability. Talent to develop talent. You know, I would hope
people would say, you know what, two things about Coach Taylor. A, he really knows how to find them, and B, he really loves on them, and he lets them be who they are and lets their best opportunity stay in front of them. I don't try to limit kids or dangle the carrot or pull it back on them, right? You know what I mean? Because I can say this right now equivocally. I don't give a damn how much money Oscar Tshiebwe is making at Kentucky. He should not be going back to college. There's nothing more that young man can do. He won the freaking Wooden Award. It only benefits Kentucky by him going back. It does not benefit him. And I'll stand on that. Just like when Luke Garza went back before his senior year, there was nothing more he could do to put himself in a better situation. There just wasn't.
And I agree with you to an extent, but if given his background and his situation, if he's looking at it from a pure financial standpoint, where he's like, okay, I just won National Player of the Year. I'm a second round prospect. There's some things that I could probably tighten up as far as my game to improve my draft stock. And by the way, I'm making more than a second round pick. Maybe it's not the worst idea to come back where I'm getting that money, and I can know what these things that I got to work on to get my game to the next level where I can potentially ensure myself more money. Now, also, you run the risk of getting hurt and all of that, for, $2 million payday, but you also do that as a second round guy. If you can come in and improve your stock enough to where you're a first round guy and that money is guaranteed rather than a second round pick where it's not, I agree with you. I don't think he has nothing else to prove. If it was me, I would probably go pro too. But given the amount of money that he's making off of that NIL deal, I think it's justifiable, in my opinion.
Let me say this. If they're paying him $2 million, how much are they making off his merch? How much are they making off his NFT? How much are they making off every rebound he grabs that they can afford to put him in a situation where he's coming off $2 million?
Well, that's with any profession. That's with anything.
That's my point. So go to the pros, man.
You get paid.
Go to the pros. You have done your job at Kentucky. They went in the portal. They got what they needed. It's not your fault that the guards and Calipari couldn't get it done. It just, you live by young guys, you die by young guys. He was the oldest guy on their team.
I agree.
He's the most consistent player on their team. Go to the pros. I'm tired of these coaches guilt tripping these players into believing that if you come back, we're going to do this and this. We saw this with Alford and Reggie Evans. Reggie Evans should have never came back after he led the country in rebounding. He should have been gone that year too. And he dropped in the second round because he came back. These coaches got to stop guilting these kids, man. You're making enough money off these kids. Let these kids go and tell these kids, you know what, Oscar, I appreciate you want to come back. I appreciate that you cried when we lost, but you've done everything you were supposed to do, man. It's time for you to take that next step. And if that means your salary drops a little bit, that's part of being a pro, baby boy. If you got to prove it to the guys at the next level, that is what it is. But you coming back to Kentucky as some 24-year-old guy who's beating up on kids, that's still not going to help you get what you want to get, man. That only helps Kentucky. That's all I'm saying. It only helps Kentucky. It does not benefit Oscar. Because let me tell you something. Oscar can go to Italy, to Spain, to Germany, and go get that same $2 million, man. Because they got top basketball over there. And what he does, people will pay him good money to do that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%. Brian, do you want to chime in on that, or are you good?
I'm good. I guess the one thing I'll say is, I think this is if he comes back, this is the last time. This is the only opportunity that he'll have to be the best player in the league. Like, if he goes over to Spain, he probably ain't even going to be the best player. Like those Spanish, that Spanish, like the Barcelona teams over there, where Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol's from, they have real basketball.
For sure.
This might be his last chance. This might be his last chance to be the best player in whatever league. Because if he goes to the league, you already know he's not going to be the best player. Like, he's going to be a rotational player, and if he's making that money, who's more popular than Kentucky? FC Barcelona for basketball, or UK. So, but I can see it both ways. I can definitely see it both ways.
All right. Well, Brad, as we have with all of our guests here, we're going to give you the question that we give everybody, which is, you have one moment in sports to rewrite. And if you could choose any moment, it could be key moment, pivotal moment, infamous moment, any moment in sports, you could change it. What would you choose to change?
Well, Nate, we had this conversation, right? And I had two. I don't know which one I'm going to go with. I don't know what's going on. Did he tell you? Did he tell you what they?
No. Hey man, I want to hear this. So I'm saying, pick the one you want. I don't know anything about this. I'm not privy to this conversation.
Oh man, you know what? So what? What is it? Was it 2007, Nate? Is that when Kobe Bryant almost got traded to the Bulls?
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant demands a trade to the Chicago Bulls. Only reason the deal doesn't get done is because the Lakers want to get Luol Deng, and he doesn't want to go there without Luol Deng. This close to getting done. What if Kobe Bryant is in the East? What if he's going up against KG and LeBron? What does that look like? I don't know. Nate got mad at me when we were talking about that. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, elaborate.
Elaborate. I want you to chime in. I just want you to I think it'd be interesting.
I get mad a lot. I honestly can't remember what I was upset about.
I said LeBron James' name. I said something to the effect of, Kobe's brand is built around being, a Laker for life, Mamba mentality. Rest in peace to him. Of course, greatest Laker of all time. And that's, those are some of the things that people put above LeBron or above other players. Well, hey, above Shaq, hey, you got a championship here. You had to go here. You had to go here. You had to click up. You had to do this. Kobe was fortunate enough to go to an organization that you look at it now, they're not so stable, but, for a long time with Dr. Buss, very stable organization, and got superstars. And even he, was frustrated at one point and wanted to be gone. So, what do people say about him if he isn't a Laker for life and he goes to the Bulls? Does he want another championship? What does that mean for LeBron? What does that mean for the whole league? It just changes how you think about stuff. So,
yeah, like I said, I as a Bulls fan, it's definitely something I would have welcomed. It also depends on what all, I don't remember, it's been so long ago what all that trade included of and what we would have kept, because then that's going to be main too. It's like, what are you keeping around him? Which is why he didn't want Dang gone, right? Is because he wanted Dang to be a piece.
It was going to be Joakim Noah. Here, I'll tell you what it is. There's going to be Joakim Noah, Ben Gordon, Luol Deng, and Tyrese Thomas. And this is when Ben Gordon came off of 21 points a game, and Luol came off of 18 points a game.
So you got Joakim Noah, Tyrese Thomas, Ben Gordon.
Yep, who had just dropped 21 a game, and Luol Deng, who had just dropped 18 and 7.
Okay,
and he was 21.
So then at that time, you're left with Kurt Heinrich.
You have Kirk Heinrich, Kobe, Andres Nocioni, Joe Smith, and Ben Wallace.
I mean, that's a formidable lineup. I mean, and I think like I said, I definitely would have pulled the trigger. I think the problem with the Bulls for a long time is they overvalue their young assets, where you look at potential where they could have had a lot of all-time greats and they overvalue young assets and even at times old assets where they could have traded up to the 5th pick. I want to say we were picking 8th in that 03 draft. It was 7th or 8th, and we could have traded up for the 5th pick, and they didn't want to give up Daniel Marshall. And it was going to trade up to get to the 5th pick to get Dwayne Wade. And they didn't want to give up Daniel Marshall. And we ended up taking Kurt Heinrich, who, don't get me wrong, as a Bulls fan, I love the shit out of Kurt Heinrich because Kurt Heinrich brought it every night. It was tough motherfucker, and he was a great NBA player, a great Chicago Bull. But that was just an example of them overvaluing assets where, Daniel Marshall, who was a good pro, he didn't provide all of that where you couldn't get rid of him to move up to get a guy like Dwayne Wade, who was, you'd have had the Chicago situation with him long before you had it with D Rose, right? So that's the problem with the Bulls. They always overvalued their assets, and I'm glad now that we have a regime in there that does different, which they should be coming on here in a minute, or they might be on. So game 3, I'm hoping we can take that one, but we'll end it like that. Brian, appreciate you coming through doing the mock with us, and in an episode we'll have to get you back on most definitely. You got any social medias or anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to say to the viewers?
No, nothing I want to shout out right now. Coach Taylor, Big Nate, you guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. I gotta come on halfway through the year and at the end of the year as well, just so we can start checking on our shit, because I'm telling you, if these QBs go, it's just, again, it's a QB league. I get it. I 100% see where Coach Taylor's coming from. If some of these teams start getting QBs, even if it's not the one you pick, if Corral goes to the Saints, if Malik Willis goes to the Steelers, same difference. They all probably have to sit a little bit, but it'll be interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next week in the draft.
Might need to go and put some money on one of these gambling sites to see what the odds are. You got these quarterbacks like this. You know what I'm saying? Put a damn bet in. But yeah, definitely appreciate you coming through. Coach Taylor, did you have any betting advances for us today?
Today I like Milwaukee to cover the spread. I like Milwaukee to come out and really give Chicago a thumping. Hate to break your soul. Yeah. I think they want to get back to playing Milwaukee basketball. They want to suck the life out of Chicago right away, because you let the Bulls hang around too much with the talent they have. I really respect Donovan as a coach. It's just not going to go well. So I'm gonna take Milwaukee minus
3.5. I believe is the spread.
You dropped to 3.5. I'm gonna take Milwaukee 3.5. Yep,
3.5.
I definitely have. I'd like them to beat them probably by 9 though. Just to be honest with you, 9 or 10.
Okay. Well, that does it for this episode of the Real Spill Sports Podcast. Again, we appreciate y'all coming through. Stick with us. We staying consistent. We're gonna keep it coming. Like I know I keep saying it, but the YouTube is coming. We're on all platforms as far as the audio. We also gonna have Instagram, TikTok, all of that shit coming too. So appreciate y'all coming through. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks. Yeah, appreciate you.
Absolutely.